Welcome to some simple security. I am Mist.
And I am Tara.
This is going to be a really easy one after some of the more difficult or complex episodes we did with like Tails. This is just going to be some browser plugins that are standard every time I get a browser. It's the first thing that I do is get some of these plugins. Mainly they are going to be ad blockers, but there's also one that's a little bit more involved called NoScript, which will stop people from running unauthorized scripts inside your browser.
Fair warning though, it can break a lot of things and some sites that you may access.
Yeah, I find myself regularly turning it off for Reddit and some other things, but it's good to have it on by default because if you are redirected to a malicious page, that page will not be able to run script before you realize it's a malicious page. Once you establish that the page that you're on is safe and you actually want to access it, then you can turn that plugin off just for that page, and we'll show you how to do that.
Yeah.
Some reasons why you would want to use ad blockers. Obviously, advertisements are annoying. So that was initially why I would use ad blockers, just because I didn't want to clutter my mind with advertising from behemoth corporations and whatnot. But it can also be a safety feature. Some advertisers will actively use advertisements themselves to track you and build a profile of you and gather information about you. They can deduce a lot of different information from you by using cookies and other techniques to kind of identify who you are, what you're shopping for, even your political affiliation. So
Yes. And it may not be the most powerful language that is used, JavaScript, but the way that it works, it can identify your computer basically down to a fingerprint. It can tell what you're running, what your window size is, even sometimes what CPU you're running. So it can be very dangerous to have that run if you have malicious actors who want to get that information.
indeed. And even the ad networks, once they build a profile of you with all that information that I mentioned and even more, they actually are selling information dockets like this to law enforcement and government. So they're kind of doing spying for the government for a fee, if you want to think about it like that. A lot of local police departments and even the FBI have been purchasing.
It's the easiest way for them to get around search warrants because they could just buy the data instead of having to put out a warrant to get your data.
Indeed. And then, so yeah, those are some reasons to use ad blockers. It's very, very simple to set these up. You're basically just going to go up. Any browser is going to have this. You go up to the hamburger up here in the upper right or wherever you see settings. Go to settings. It'll pop up this page here or something like it. And then just look for something that says extensions or plugins.
You could also go to the icon that you can see in the upper right that looks like a puzzle piece, and you will get there, and it should be at the bottom of the pop-up. It'll say Explore or your add-ons manager.
So since I'm using LibreWolf here, uBlock Origin is on by default, I believe. I don't think I actually had to install that one, but we're going to add a couple others too. uBlock Origin is my favorite, and if you only install one of these, I would suggest uBlock Origin, but there's some other good ones that cover a few more things. I like using multiple ad blockers because some of those lists are going to be incomplete or updated at different times, so you're kind of having a multi-stage defense against more ads that way. I'm going to suggest Privacy Badger. And so it'll just come up like this. There'll be a lot of different plugins over on the right here. Some of them good, some of them bad. So be wary when you're adding some of
It's
these.
best to check for that recommended tag that you can see there.
Yeah. And so it'll generally ask you if you want to install it. Say, go ahead and install. I like to run it in all my windows, including the private windows. And
It is a
now,
privacy tool, so it's just good to have it run in your private windows.
indeed. And Privacy Badger is made by the EFF, which is a fantastic organization. I think I've talked a little bit about them before, but anything that the EFF puts out is generally going to be safe and good. They have great recommendations for security and privacy. But now you'll see a little icon up here, and that is the Privacy Badger settings. If you want to disable for a particular site, I wouldn't suggest it, but sometimes you want to disable some of these. And then
And sometimes they don't pop up on the toolbar. That's okay. Just click on that little puzzle icon and it should come up in the list of extensions you have.
yeah, so now under the extensions here, it's going to have Privacy Badger listed. I also like Ghostery. Privacy ad blocker. Go ahead and add it. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And a lot of these icons will pop up with little numbers telling you how many scripts or sites or malicious snooping activity it has blocked. So it's kind of neat to see what sites are better than others or trying to spy more or less.
Yeah, one thing you will most definitely notice, especially being on YouTube, if you use uBlock Origin, it will show you the number of things that it has blocked. And it does work on YouTube. And they're constantly in a cat and mouse game with sites like YouTube trying to make sure that you don't have to see ads.
So yeah, just on the main page without even searching for anything, uBlock has blocked 11, Privacy Badgers blocks 2, Ghostery has blocked 7.
Yes.
So, and that's without even starting a video. And then the script blocker that I mentioned is going to be called NoScript. And again, a lot of times I find myself disabling this once I get to a site that I like.
And I'm just going to install NoScript real quick. Go to Firefox, run in private windows, add, and we'll go to Reddit, reload, because I totally didn't have issues recording before. And right now it is running, but if we disable it, then all of the images will pop up because JavaScript does deal a lot with images. So sometimes you do have to disable it. And it's this third icon from the right in the upper left of the window that pops up when you click on the NoScript icon to enable restrictions for this tab.
Yeah.
So it will allow it to run, but only in this tab.
Right. You can disable it globally if you want, but again, I would not suggest that. I would suggest just going tab by tab once you know you're on a site that you want to allow to use scripts.
Yes.
And if you do, at least one of the ad blockers and NoScript are going to be a lot more secure. I suggest installing all of them, but if you only install one, that's totally fine. As long as you're doing more than nothing.
If you don't want to go into the extensions a lot, although we wouldn't recommend it, you could install everything but NoScript and have a fluid experience with the internet.
Yeah, the NoScript is a little bit more mid-level. You do have to interact with it a little bit more to get it to work in the best way. So if that ends up giving you trouble, you can uninstall NoScript and just use the ad blockers. Right?
Yeah, the other three just work in the background and they just work.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about them. Install and forget.
Yes, indeed. All right, and that's pretty much it. I wanted to do just a quick, easy one with just some point and click tutorials for this one. So yeah, super easy. It'll make your web browsing experience very nice. I use other people's computers every once in a while. The amount of advertisements that I see on theirs is like, it's blinding. Because I'm just so not used to it, and I never see ads on YouTube.
Well, I guess I have an idea for a future video because there is a way that you can run some browsers off of a USB stick.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So you can keep those settings.
All right. Yeah, that sounds cool. We should do that. Yeah, so I'll add some links down below. There's also the definition of malvertising on Wikipedia if you're curious and want a little bit more information. So pretty useful, but I'll add those links down below.
All right, and that's pretty much all that we have for this video.
Yeah, short and easy. Some are going to be longer, some are going to be a little shorter, but yeah.
Quick, easy to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Minimal mistakes.
Yes. One of these days we'll do this absolutely perfectly from the beginning to the end.
No, we won't.
No.
No, we won't. We're too human for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this helped.
I am Tara.
And I am Mist.
Be sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you have any thoughts or anything that you'd like us to cover later on. And we will see you in the next video.
Indeed.